of us. I don't think the Mayor will need any introductions. I've got the Mayor Craig on my left hand side, but Steve West, the CEO, Managing Director of ChargeNET, is also here. So I've just asked Steve if he wouldn't mind saying a few words, first of all about the roadshow that they have embarked on and well down the route on their journey. Then I'll ask Mayor Craig just to say a few words, and then I'll come in the rear and finish off with a whole lot of reasons why Alpine Energy got involved, and then I'll ask Steve and the Mayor to do the official opening and pulling off our very expensive bed sheet there. So, Steve, if you'd just like to say a few words, please.
Thanks, Andrew. Yeah, so I'm here in two capacities. One is as a trustee of the Better NZ Trust. We've been running this road trip. This is our second year, where we take a number of electric vehicles from one end of the country to the other. So we started in Cape Reinga on the 6th of April, and we've been working our way down, mainly down State Highway 1, trying to get all the way to Bluff. And we've been taking our time doing it, stopping in many towns and showing people these wonderful cars, taking people for rides, and I'm sure we'll have time today to do that as well. We have 3 Teslas, 1 Mitsubishi Outlander and a BMW i3. They all demonstrate different aspects of plug-in vehicles and the various pros and cons of each. So it also takes a long time to do such a trip because there's very little in the way of charging stations across New Zealand, and but we're trying to change that. So that's what really how my other role is, as Andrew said, CEO of ChargeNET New Zealand. We have this audacious goal of rolling out 100 charging stations across New Zealand over a 3-year period. And we're halfway through the first year, and we've got, this is number 17, and so we're well on the way. And but really we have to thank Alpine for being so progressive and taking a lead. They're well ahead of the rest of the country, and here we are today to celebrate that.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks for that, Tēnā koutou. I'm excited to be here today as Waimate joins Timaru as a leap into the future of transport, as being one of the front runners to bring this technology to the people of New Zealand. As we gather for the unveiling of the electric charging system, at the same time there was also acknowledgement and a welcoming the arrival of ChargeNET New Zealand and leading the charge. The road trip, which is travelling from Cape Reinga to Bluff, as we've just heard, to highlight the benefits of electric vehicles and the zero carbon transport. Special welcome to Andrew, obviously, to the ChargeNET Chief Operating Officer Nick Smith, and CEO and electric car owner Steve West. Martin Kane, representing the Better New Zealand Trust and the electric car owner.
He's the guy doing the videoing.
The drivers of the electric vehicle supporters, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I'd like to acknowledge our Council's positive working relationship with Alpine Energy and the enthusiasm of Andrew in getting South Canterbury covered, especially as I understand Waimate was not originally intended to be included in this early rollout. I understand also that Steve West, one of the drivers on this trip and the CEO of ChargeNET, along with his wife Dee, began the idea of installing 100 fast chargers nationwide, arguing that it was silly to spend millions and billions of dollars on importing oil when New Zealand has a huge and capable energy supply locally. I just have a few facts to share here. I understand there are now 16, by the sound of it 17 fast chargers stations in New Zealand, and that Waimate is the 3rd fast charging station active in the South Island, following from Dunedin and Christchurch, and obviously earlier on today Timaru. There are just over 1,000 electric cars registered in New Zealand at the moment, and between 200 and 250 of those are in the South Island. It is expected to increase slowly with awareness, but New Zealand is one of the few countries that presently does not offer incentives to cheaper vehicles, so the massive uptake seen to have here for a few years yet. Fully electric cars are available from $25,000 for a second-hand Leaf type vehicle, up to as high as $220,000 for one of the high-end luxury Tesla vehicles that we see here today. Teslas, as they tell me, are capable of accelerating from 0 to 100 kilometres an hour in under 3 seconds. I look forward to that. They generally have
on a racetrack.
They generally have 80 to 90% energy efficiency compared with just under 30% of fossil fuels. Petrol will have to drop to 30 to 40 cents per litre to break even with the running costs of one of these vehicles. South Canterbury electric car owners will be able to charge their cars in the time it takes them for a coffee break. And just in closing, I'd like to thank the leading the charge road team, Alpine Energy, ChargeNET New Zealand and the Better New Zealand Trust. I look forward to seeing this electric car station well used, and we welcome drivers to stop here and have a look around the town while their vehicle is charging, hopefully have a cup of coffee, and hope you enjoy the rest of your road trip. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Craig. And why did Alpine Energy get involved? Well, quite a few years ago when we started looking at the sales of electric vehicles globally, we thought it will only be a matter of time before they come to New Zealand. And given our core business is electrical infrastructure and the conveyance of electrons, we thought, well, these units will be plugged in somewhere for their charging, and those electrons will most likely flow across our infrastructure. So what will that mean for us in terms of our current load profiles and our infrastructure asset management? So we read numerous papers, of which there are papers to Africa on the subject of electric vehicles and charging and other renewable energy technologies. And then we decided, actually, we've got some really good data here from around the world and from our peers in Australasia. Now let's actually go and buy one. So we bought a little Nissan Leaf almost 3 years ago, the second-hand Japanese one. We brought it into Timaru under the cover of darkness. We didn't put any branding on it, and it drove around quite happily before, I think it took about 14 or 15 months before someone detected it. And the person that detected it is right here, it's Martin Kane. Martin is an EV owner, an EV enthusiast and champion of EVs. And Martin took great pleasure in ringing me one day to say, Andrew, I'm Martin, I've got an EV, I want to talk to you about EV charging, and by the way, I saw another one driving around the town. Well, that was our Alpine Energy one. So we'd had it as a sample size of one, which actually isn't statistically a very good sample size, but with all the other data we had, we gave it to a staff member. They've been plugging it in at their home most nights, and from that we can determine sort of consumer behaviour, and more importantly the load profiling on our network. So when the person charged it in, when it would be fully charged, when it was unplugged, how often they would do that over a period of time, and then we could run some load scenarios in terms of, if you multiply a sample size of 1 to 5,000 or 10,000 or a few thousand, what will that mean across our network in terms of the utilisation of our assets? So and that journey still continues. We're getting some very good data out of it now. So then I thought, well, this dreaded range anxiety that people talk about may be a barrier to people wanting to invest in EVs. And so what that means is that our little Nissan Leaf, for example, even though with a lot of enthusiasm, we wouldn't quite make it to Christchurch from Timaru. And that could be a bit of a problem if you then had to put it on a flat deck truck to bring it back to Timaru. So we decided that we would lead the charge, no pun intended, but put some fast charging units in. So we've got an AC charger at our site in Washdyke. This is a DC fast charger. What that means in layman's terms, you can come up in your little Nissan Leaf or equivalent, takes a bit longer for a Tesla, and within 15 or so minutes you'll be up to about 80% to charge, and you would have had a coffee, enjoyed the wonders of Waimate in that short period of time, and then want to come back every week for the rest of your life and charge in at the charging station. So we are helping trying to enable the thinking around EVs and to get over that range anxiety issue. So we've unveiled one in Timaru this morning. We're doing one here in Waimate, and I know Mayor Craig said that it wasn't initially on the list. I can assure him it was always on the list. And the other two locations that I am considering are in Geraldine and Tekapo. Why these routes? Well, Timaru and Waimate in particular was because ChargeNET had already sort of mapped out the whole nation, and I thought, why reinvent the wheel? I'll go and talk to these guys and we'll see if we can work together to make it actually happen. And when Steve and I first met, I think there was an element of, who is this guy from the South Canterbury and what's he up to? But once we actually discovered that we both had a joint passion for EVs, we got down to business to work out how we could jointly do this. So big thanks to Steve and his team for helping make this come a reality. and this route is one of the routes chosen by ChargeNET initially because of its linkage through to Central Otago. So you can stop off here in Great Waimate, enjoy the wonders of the town, and then move on to your destination and come back, of course, on the journey home. So thanks to Steve and the team for that, and thanks to Craig, it's been a great project to be involved with. There was a little bit of anxiety around getting that switched on. We had a very short time frame to work to, but Dave here holding up that tree, he was the project manager on the case, and he was able to get both Timaru and Waimate up and running for our unveiling today in time with the roadshow. So very thankful to Dave for that, and we've got other members of the staff here involved in some of the financial modelling and all the rest of it. So great news story, happy to support the region as we always do, and great to have a good working partnership with ChargeNET. So on that note, I'd like to ask Mayor Craig and Steve to do the official opening and unveiling of our charging station. Then there'll be time for questions after that. So get your cameras ready, everybody. I'll do the countdown. Alright, is everyone ready with their cameras? 3, 2, 1, go! And doesn't it look beautiful? I actually want one in my backyard. So in terms of the operation of the unit, Steve and the team are here. They can probably fill in you more of the details than what I can. They're happy to take some questions, and I understand, Mayor Craig, that you might even consider for council to buy an EV in the not too distant future.
For his deputy.
Yeah, for the deputy. There we go. So thank you very much for coming along. If there's any questions, feel free to ask. Thank you.
How many years will the battery last?
Oh gosh, that's a question about EVs more than a question about the charger.
I would link it to what are the manufacturers willing to warranty the batteries for. Quite a few years ago you would be hard to get a warranty in double digits, but now it's 10 years or more. So is that going to be the life of the battery? I think if the manufacturers are willing to put their warranty on it, I think for normal wear and tear that's probably a reasonable time frame. Our experience around things electrical is that typically they go well beyond the warranty period. So and it'll all depend on how much it's used, how often it's charged, and I would look at anywhere between 10 to 15 to 20 years.